You're listening to The Squeeze on YouTube. I'm Anthony Pasquazi. That's Alec Rude. Welcome. What is it, October 6th?
Yes, it is.
Beautiful, crisp October day, which is the exact opposite of how this weekend has gone. It has been drab, dreary, wet, gross. Those soccer games yesterday were some of the most miserable things I've been to.
They were fun games.
They were fun. No, they were very fun. Sadly, neither of our Cardinals teams got the victory, but two close, good games, two quality opponents, St. John's and St. Ben's. The weather, though, scoreboard busted. The stream busted, the stats busted, the PA system busted. I mean, it was brutal. We were operating as a skeleton crew yesterday, but made it through. And ready for a great show here today. I was just saying to Alec, for the first time in a long time, I'm actually nervous for this show, which is typically a good thing. We have Jordan Matthews coming in at 10:15, the stud transfer on the women's soccer team. She has 10 goals this season. That's tied for second in the MIAC. You know who she's tied with?
Megan Thompson.
Ashley St. Aubin.
Really?
You know who she's behind?
Megan Thompson.
Megan Thompson. So two of the premier athletes in this conference. She's right up there in the standings with her. She's also third in the MIAC in points. And, Megan Thompson only has 4 MIAC goals. Donnie was saying, well, all of Jordan's goals have come in non-conference play. Most of these goals came in non-conference play.
She had a hat trick against Olaf.
She did. She had a hat trick against Olaf in her first MIAC goal. Came in a bunch, so that was awesome. We have Frankie Backlars coming in at 10:50, and you had a great idea at the end of last show on the air. You said we were going to do a little draft, a little college football team draft, and whoever has the lowest combined seed basically will win something, or we can do it in the other direction. Whoever has the highest seed will lose and have to do something. So I guess we can on-air program direct when Frankie comes in to try to decide what we have to do for the loser. But that's at 10:50. And then Jimmy Perreault, one of the best names at St. Mary's, also one of the best goalies at St. Mary's. There aren't that many, but he is one of the best. He'll be in at 11 o'clock. We wanted to get him on the show last weekend, coming off that spectacular performance against Augsburg. He had 12 saves against the Augies in a 4-3 victory. One of the most exciting games I've ever been a part of here at St. Mary's University. That crowd went nuts. The team went nuts. We went nuts. And I
wasn't there. So.
Oh, you weren't? I forgot. And I watched that Eli Szymanski video maybe 50 times. It was just, it was mesmerizing. He just dribbled up and wide open.
He sniped it.
Gave him all the time in the world, which was bizarre. But you don't really expect a guy to do what he did. It was pretty incredible. I'm sorry to start the show like this. I'd describe what happened to Minnesota this week as the opposite of incredible. So whatever, superlative you want to use for how this week went. I'm just going to go through how this week went to torture you just a little bit. And then I'm going to ask you to kind of reflect on your week. And
did you include the Wild?
I didn't.
They're 0-2.
They're 0-2 as well. There we go. I actually forgot hockey started. Basketball started this weekend too, didn't it?
Preseason.
Oh, preseason basketball. My apologies. But that tough week began last Sunday when they lost to the Bears 16-6 in a game that I kind of said it was going to happen, kind of predicted it. 2 lost fumbles. Dalvin Cook, the best running back in the league, 14 carries, held to 35 yards, did score a touchdown. Cousins sacked 6 times with a 14.8 QBR. That is not good. Remember, the Bears had no Akeem Hicks, no Roquan Smith, no Kyle Long, and 3 plays into the first drive. Now, this could be a good or bad thing, depending on your opinions of Trubisky. But Trubisky gets hurt. The Bears still dominated. Kwiatkowski with a sack. Nick Williams, who I had never heard of, with 2 sacks. Roy Robertson Harris, 1.5. And big Khalil Mack with another forced fumble and 1.5 sacks. And this is something that I remembered last week that I wish I had known when you said you were making fun of the Bears' opponents and their wins and how they came against nobody. Well, the Vikings' 2 wins were against the Falcons and the Raiders at home. At least the Bears wins.
I never said the Vikings had important ones.
Yeah, but
said the Bears did it.
The Bears wins were on the road, and a road win in the NFL is a road win in the NFL.
So the Patriots beat the Redskins today on their own. That's a big win.
It's not a big win for them, but you take it, okay? Bears are now 3-1. Vikings are 2-2. Who do the Vikings play this week?
Giants.
They played the Giants, so
be a-
should be a victory.
At New York.
Oh, see? Oh, yeah. It's a road game. It's kind of a big deal. And then the Bears take on the Raiders in London at noon. What time do the Vikings play?
Yeah.
They play at noon as well. So maybe the Minnesota Woes will continue. Minnesota Woes. That'd be a nice team name for one of your
Everything.
disappointing franchises. One of those disappointing franchises, the Twins. You know why they're called the Twins? The Twin Cities. Everyone knows that. I didn't know that when I was like 13.
Are you kidding me?
And I asked my uncle, what kind of uncle, who lived in Minneapolis. I'm like, why are they called the Twins? And he told me it was because they're the Twin Cities. So if you didn't know that, you're kind of dumb. But I didn't know it when I was 13. 10-4 loss in game one, making it 11 straight playoff wins for the Yankees over the Twins. They got what they needed. The Twins got what they needed with 3 home runs. Now, you think Twins, 3 home runs, they should probably get the victory, but those home runs came with practically nobody on base, and they were from your big boppers, Polanco, Cruz, and Sano. So you're, 2 of your 4 big guys, your big sticks in that lineup produced, and the Twins still could not get the victory. And then an 8-2 loss in game 2. So what is that combined? 18-6. Not great. Didi hits a grand slam. The Yankees' pen has been practically bulletproof. And now your trip to Target Field on Tuesday is in jeopardy.
I'm so mad.
So you're going to game 4, and it doesn't look like at this moment there will be a game 4. So you will be hanging on every single pitch on Monday while we're watching.
Me, you, and Stir will be at
Yes.
the women's soccer game
And UW
announcing,
Superior.
and we're gonna be live streaming that thing so hard.
Yeah.
I might not be announcing. I might just say I gotta
I'm gonna watch
watch
the Twins game. I'm gonna announce the Twins
because
game.
we're gonna. That's what I said to you earlier. We're gonna know in less than 24 hours before the game if we're going.
Yep.
If I'm skipping school, if I'm getting back at 2 a.m. the next morning, if I'm driving 4 hours that night.
Everything is up in the air. And this is where I ask you to reflect on this week in Minnesota sports. Honestly, where are your teams at? What do you expect them to do? Kirk Cousins is clearly not a good quarterback, but do the Vikings have enough to maybe win this division?
I think the Packers have the division.
Okay.
I honestly do. I think their schedule lays out. I think Vikings and Bears will finish very similar. I think one team will get a wild card and one team won't. I just think I'm trying to think what the other division. Seattle's
Yeah.
division. They'll get 2 teams in
Rams
because they have the
Seahawks.
Rams. Yeah, and then I think we'll get another team in.
Okay.
So it'll be between Vikings Bears. They play week 17. Vikings play Green Bay week 16. I'm going to that one. Those are gonna be huge. Twins are gonna get swept. I hate to say it, they're gonna get swept. It's just the pitching's not good. Tyler Duffy is just getting absolutely jacked. He's terrible. So it's not good. It's not good. The Vikings, if they make the playoffs, they won't get out of the first round. They just won't. So, but I think they'll win today. I think they'll finish like 9-7. Them and the Bears will go like 9-7, 10-6, and get one of them will get that last playoff. So it will come down to last week. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, for sure. And I was a sad Cubs fan for a really long time. No longer a sad Cubs fan because they finally won it. But I could not imagine losing 12, possibly 13 if they lose in game 3, 13 games in a row to the same team, that team being the Evil Empire.
15 straight playoff games we've lost.
Ugh, it's sad.
It's a fun time.
It's almost like you would rather not get some playoffs. You're just going to
Or not play the Yankees.
Or not play the
We
Yankees.
should have tanked and got a wild card.
Oh, and then you would have made it. You would have been playing the Astros right now, which I'm not sure you'd want to play the Astros either because they are looking like the best team in the playoffs.
I think the Yankees are going to beat them now. I
don't
thought
know.
Houston was. LA was. Dodgers are going to win it.
Garrett Cole, 15 strikeouts and pumping 195 pitches in. You can't.
They're playing the Rays.
I don't care. What are you going to do? Garrett Cole is not going to stop pitching really well against any other team. It doesn't matter that it's the Rays. It's Justin Verlander. Garrett
I want
Cole.
the Twins to win, but Houston and New York, that'd be a 6 series.
That would be a fun series. And we kind of all saw the holes in the Twins at the beginning. You said it right here on the show. It's the pitching. They had an awesome lineup. They hit more home runs than anyone had ever hit. But a lot of times in the playoffs, which actually didn't pan out in the first game, home runs they matter more because not a lot of people hit them. Once you go up against these
Especially in that
aces,
stadium.
you go up against these aces. Oop, bad YouTuber. Whoop. turn that phone sound off. Once you get into the playoffs, you're only facing the best pitchers. There's no, garbage time in the playoff. Well, I guess if the Twins are playing it, it's kind of like garbage time. But it's harder to hit home runs. And the Cubs went through that in every other year other than 2016. And even in 2016, they had to battle their way back every single time. They made it out of a lot of unlikely situations. So, teams that are built around the home run, it's tough. They just sometimes it's hit or miss, literally, no pun intended, in the playoffs.
That's where I think the Twins could win because in Target Field, you never know.
They hit 5. I mean, they could do it.
You never know. And they have a better pitcher pitching in Game 3 than Game 2.
Who's pitching today?
Or tomorrow? Odorizzi.
Odorizzi, okay.
And he's whoever that guy last night. I don't like him. I forgot his name.
Tyler Duffy.
No, he didn't start. Someone else. God, I don't know what his name is.
It's fine.
Sturgis said, "How about the Wild?" Well,
how about
Stur
the Wild?
was listening. I said that they were 0-2 before. Maybe Sturgis got up. You think?
Probably. I'm actually surprised he is up. He's had a tough weekend as well.
Sorry, Stur.
He's just as much of a Twins fan as anybody. So
he's coming to the game. He's gonna.
So hey, who is coming? I mean, I did get an invite, but I rejected.
Me, our other roommate Brandon, Colin, and Gabe.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's gonna be fun.
They said lower level, $100.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Just got the tickets today. They were kind of upset because we haven't gotten the tickets yet, so we got them.
Okay,
I got them delivered.
It would be kind of funny for the content of you, missing out on this playoff game, but just as a friend, I've never been to a playoff game. I would love to.
It'd be crazy.
I'd love to see you guys go.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts.
Yeah.
Can I have one rude thought before?
Yeah, one rude thought before.
1 minute or not even 1 minute.
What's up?
5 seconds. There's 2 games at 3:00 today in the NFL. That is crazy.
Yeah.
The noon games, there's like 11 of them.
Yeah.
Normally there's like
That
5
is bizarre.
3:00 games. 2?
Yeah, that's weird.
I looked at my fantasy. It's going to be decided by 3:00 today if I win or lose. I don't know if that's ever happened. 2?
That's weird.
That's nuts.
I know the Bears are in London, so they're playing at 6:00 in London, but
At night?
yeah, noon here. So it's another night game for them.
But I'm like, LA and Denver? That's terrible. So the only game at 3:00 to watch, Green Bay, Dallas.
Which will be
it'll be
probably the best game of the week.
It'll be
And then who plays Sunday night?
Colts, KC, which could be good.
Colts, KC.
I'm starting
And then
Brissett.
How about Monday night?
Cleveland, San
So what is up with the? I wish I knew the goings on of contract negotiations for these broadcasting, companies, because ESPN has got slated with the absolute worst. I mean, games this year. So I really don't understand what's going on with it. Yeah, so that's your rude thought, your 1 minute rude thought.
That's it. That's all I got.
What is up with the schedule? Nobody knows. So yesterday we did talk about it. The weather was absolutely brutal. But somebody who showed up, who we've talked about before, we actually talked about after her first performance, was Megan Thompson, St. Ben's. She's a junior, and she's one of the best athletes in the MIAC. She right away made her presence known yesterday in the game. She just got away from Kaylee Manglitz, who was manning her up, got away from her, made a beautiful pass, and got the Bennies on the board with 2.5 minutes into the game. So I, again, wanted to go and research Megan Thompson's statistics because I'm kind of a fan. She's great on the pitch and on the court. So this season, she's played in 10 games. She has 11 goals, 4 in the MIAC, 4 assists, 26 points, 49 shots, and 5 game-winning goals, which is pretty cool.
That's sweet.
2 in MIAC victories. The Bennies are in first place in the conference at the moment, which is impressive. She had 9 goals her sophomore year and 7 her freshman year. So she's just picking up where she left off. She already has 27 goals. She's on pace for 40. I mean, that's pretty cool stuff from Megan Thompson. And then don't forget, basketball. She averages 13 points a game.
She plays basketball?
She's the starting point guard, and she's really good.
Since when?
13 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, and she's 5'4". She also has 2.7 assists per game. She also led the team in steals with 58. She has a chance to be MIAC Player of the Year in basketball this season. She's my dark horse for that honor. So big fan of Megan Thompson. And we're just going to go right into it. Jordan Matthews, who is a little bit early. Thanks for being so punctual. No worries. So we didn't prep her at all, which is fine. But another stud athlete here in the MIAC, a newcomer to the MIAC, is Jordan Matthews. She's a sophomore transfer.
Yes.
Where did you transfer from?
So it's called Bellevue College. It's in Seattle. It's a 2-year like sports program, that
Oh.
4-year college,
Okay.
East Community College. And I just kind of went there because I was terrified about leaving and going somewhere big, and all my teammates were going there. So I just decided to go there for a year and then figure it out after that. I should be a junior technically right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but sophomore year, I tried out for the Guam national team for soccer, and then I made that, so I traveled with them for a month and a half playing.
That's amazing.
So I didn't commit anywhere last year.
How do you play for the Guam national team?
My dad was born there.
Oh,
Wow.
that's what we wondered.
Okay,
Yeah.
we were kind of trying to look it up, and there wasn't really a lot on it, so we
Yeah,
weren't going to
'cause
bring it
they're
up.
tiny.
Okay.
Tiny.
So where is Guam?
It's like right off of Japan.
Oh, okay. And is it a U.S.
It's a U.S. territory.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I know
So like
something.
you go all the way across the world to visit this place, and it's a U.S. territory. So it's like they still have American flags and just like random McDonald's, like But there's Filipino tourists and South Korean tourists, and half the people don't speak English, and it's really crazy.
So you lived over there for a little bit?
No, I just stayed there for
Okay.
about a week training,
Okay.
and then we went to Mongolia
Super
to
cool.
play in a tournament.
That's and then she makes her way over to Little Winona, Minnesota, and starts playing for
Exactly.
the St. Mary's Cardinals,
Exactly.
and has changed the program to say the least. She also has 10 goals. She's second in the MIAC with goals. She's tied. We talked about her earlier. She's tied with Ashley St. Oven, and
Yes.
she's one goal behind Megan Thompson, two of the best players in the conference. So I asked Donnie Nadeau yesterday. I'm like, do you think other teams talk about Jordan like we talk about Megan and Ashley? And he's like, yeah, probably, which is awesome. So how does it feel to just enter this conference and immediately be such a playmaker?
It feels amazing, especially because I technically took a year off. It feels amazing to come back, and I just have like more passion, I feel like, which has driven me to score more goals. I've also been a lot more selfish this season, taking shots on goal. So it feels really cool. My dad, I didn't even know I was tied for second in the MIAC until yesterday. My dad sent me a screenshot and was like, "You're up there, like just score more.
Just keep going. Just keep going."
Yeah, and it felt amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you guys, you said in my email, let's get our first MIAC win, and sadly, that didn't happen yesterday against St. Ben's. You go up against, your schedule is getting lighter for sure. St. Kate's, Augsburg, you've lost so many games to St. Kate's, Augsburg, Benny's, Gustavus, Olaf. They've all been one or two goal games. So how are you guys in this, latter half of the season going to learn from those experiences and hopefully come away with some 1-goal games?
All of us are getting progressively more and more frustrated, and we all have a lot of passion in it. Our pregame things, just our practices are super intense, and we all want to be there. And I feel like it's just these last 5 minutes of the game that we get kind of tired, I feel like. And, it's just getting the mentality that it's 5 minutes and we do really want this, and we just need to push through. Because it's usually like we hold it the whole game besides yesterday.
Yeah.
And in the last few minutes, something usually happens. And so I think we just have to get over that bit of it, and we'd be a really unstoppable team. We have some amazing talent.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the whole story last year. You guys would, be in these games with these really tough opponents who many would say are better than you. St. Mary's, the soccer program here, is not very prestigious. I don't think I'm going out on a limb by saying that. And you guys, it's just like lapse of concentration. And it sounds like, lapse of maybe a lot of fatigue. And so, I hope you guys can turn it around, because it's a lot more fun to talk about a winning team than a losing team.
Last week's game, or the last game we had before yesterday, when I scored in the last 12 seconds, I was just all in my head. I was so pissed off that we were losing again in the last 5 minutes. Like we got scored again in the last 5 minutes, and it was 3-2. And, half of our team was like, kind of just like down on ourselves because this happens continuously.
Here we go
and
again.
Then the other part of us was just pissed off. And so even though we lost that game, it felt really amazing to know that like we could still push through that. And I feel like it gave us more hope that we can push through these games, in the last few minutes. We have what it takes.
For sure. And that game that she's talking about was against St. Olaf.
Yeah.
And it was a 4-3 decision in 2 overtimes, right?
Yeah, 2 overtimes.
And Jordan had all 3 of the goals. Kind of a big deal. it was also the worst weather possible for soccer.
Yes.
Well, actually, maybe yesterday was. I don't know.
No. St. Olaf was the worst.
So here, tell us a little bit
It
about
was-
that. How'd you
it
battle
was-
through?
Well, I'm kind of used to it because Seattle in the winter is just that
Oh yeah.
every day,
Okay.
just like cloudy and like either downpour or like sprinkling rain, like
Mhm.
always. And so it was pretty cold, like it was windy and it was dumping rain, so our jerseys were like soaking wet. And just I do this thing where I like clench my fists when I like run during those things, and my hands get warm, and then I just kind of like I think of a lot of things as a mentality. So just told myself I was warm, and then I felt warm eventually.
It's kind of how it works sometimes, right?
Yeah, I was like, I'm on a warm beach. I'm fine. This is fine. Like, it's going to be fine. Just run and I'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, so you said Seattle, very similar to Minnesota winter-wise. How in the world did you end up at St. Mary's University?
Well, okay. So I actually came on a visit, not with much intention of going here. My best friend, Mary Loy, goes here, and I've known her about my whole life. We've never gone to school together, though.
Oh, okay.
And so at home, I wasn't doing much. I was working, playing for the Guam team, but not year round. And I was like, I want to figure something out. And I came out here just for fun to visit. And I actually really loved like the town and just the people. Like, it's so different from Seattle. Seattle people are it's known as a Seattle freeze. So people just are down and sad and angry half the time. And I came out here and everyone was like saying hi to me, people I didn't know, and they're cheerful and there's a lot of spirit. And I just really liked how I felt out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, people in Seattle are like, why Minnesota? And I was like, I can't explain it. I just really like it out here. So
Well, we're definitely happy to have you. How has the adjustment process been? Not only adjusting to Neil Cassidy, but also adjusting to a new school and adjusting to an entirely new state.
Yeah, well, I love actually playing for Neil. I've had a few coaches in my past where I just haven't worked well with them, or not like I just didn't understand their coaching process. And Neil makes everything really clear to me about what he expects from me. And so it's really nice not having a coach like yelling at me things on the field, because that tends to get in my head, which I think is a big part of why I've been playing so well, is because Neil kind of lets me play the way I play as long as I follow the game plan and communicate with him. And then just adjusting to the school, it's been a little bit hard. I mean, back home I live, by a beach, and I'm in the city, and it's a big adjustment. But I've been doing well. I have good friends here already, and soccer has definitely been a distraction into the whole process. It's been able to help me get into it a little bit more. So it's gone actually pretty well, better than expected.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I could only imagine, transferring is such a big deal, because we obviously didn't. We just went right from high school to college. So we hadn't already adjusted to something. Like, just readjusting, I couldn't imagine. It's probably really difficult.
With Bellevue, it was like I drove 45 minutes to go to school and then drove back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'd have like 6 a.m. workouts, and I'd drive at like 5 a.m. and then drive back, take a nap, and then drive back for like 2-hour practice. It was terrible.
So you've actually already been through it. Like, this is easy compared to that.
Yeah, this is way better.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about your upcoming opponents. So you're facing off against Bethel, they're 3-1, Carleton 3-1, Concordia 0-4, Hamlin 1-4, McAllister 1-2-1, and then St. Thomas 2-1. So obviously St. Thomas is the big team at the end there, but a lot of winnable games, if you ask me, and I'm sure you feel the same way. So what are you guys going to do to hopefully come away with a lot of victories in these last 6 games?
Well, we need to have a meeting and reassess kind of like our goals and everything, because I feel like everyone has certain things that they're focusing on more than the other, which is kind of mixing us all up. And lately we've been having some super intense practices where we kind of act as if it's the last 5 minutes of the game, because we really push through. So I think that those are going to help us a lot. It's just getting over the mentality that we've lost this many games, and, we lose in the last 5 minutes. I think it's just getting over that mindset and coming out of it as, we're a great team and we can push through and put this away.
Yeah. I mean, so you're 0-5, you have 6 more games. The likelihood that you make the playoffs isn't looking very good.
Yeah.
You're going to need probably 5-5-1. I think made it last year. So you guys.
Yeah, we're gonna have to really.
On the table.
We're gonna have to flip it. Yeah, yesterday's game was really unfortunate, and I don't think it was our best game for sure. I think usually we lose these games in the last few minutes, and that one was put away in the very beginning and throughout the game, and we can't come out like that anymore. I'm not saying we played terrible, but it wasn't enough for playoff bound. So I think that if we really want this, then we have to put out our best effort the whole game, not just in a certain span of the game, because these teams they're really good no matter what their records.
Yeah.
My goal is to just make St. Mary's soccer known to everyone else, because people kind of look at us as not a big deal.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, we're kind of the little school down in north or south, southeast Minnesota. Wow, I went through a lot of different directions there to finally figure it out. But what was I going to ask you? So Megan Thompson is by far the fastest person on the field whenever she's on the field.
Yeah.
I had no idea that she was that quick. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah,
so what do you do well? Obviously, you're doing something well. What do you do better than the other players on the field?
I think I recover and retaliate really fast. So, say one of our mids is coming down and passes the ball. Some people just wait for it, and I feel like I come back to the ball and hold it and find our other mids and switch the side of the field really well. That's how I was taught my whole life to play. And then my runs, I've practiced over and over again the timing of my run and when to make it and which angle to make it at, so that it's easier for our mids or Cassie or other forward to find me through.
Okay.
And that's a number of my goals have been scored off of those overall. So I feel like it's just, all these other forwards are making great runs and stuff, but I feel like my ability to hold the ball and find difficult passes is what kind of differs me.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I mean, this has been great. We've been talking for like 20 minutes. So I'm going to let you get out of here.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming on in, and good luck tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Against Superior. So,
Non-conference.
let's a little reset. That'll be
Yes.
nice. And then a big game against Bethel on Saturday.
Yeah.
You've been listening to The Squeeze. Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for coming in. You've been listening to The Squeeze. Anthony Basquezi, Alec Root. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening. Anthony Pasquazi, Alec Rude. This is The Squeeze on YouTube. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already liked, hit that like button. Helps us out a lot. Thank you again to Jordan Matthews. We said it in the break. That's the longest player interview we've ever done. And she really likes St. Mary's. I think when we saw how good she was in non-conference play, the murmurs were, why is she here? Why is she at this school? Why is she on this team? But man, she really loves it. So
I was gonna ask him why. I think Mary Loy. I think she's a big contribution to why she came here. Like she even said that's her best friend. So
yeah,
I think that's a big reason.
the in.
Yeah.
We had the in.
The
in. And now you were just saying, okay. I still think there's a chance this year for both of these soccer teams to turn things around. This is probably the last squeeze that I'll be able to say that, because after this week, we will know, okay, now they're beyond the halfway point of the season. And if they both lose against Bethel, it's pretty much over. But technically, neither of these teams have been eliminated from the playoffs. They both have a shot. It's unlikely that they go 5-0-1 or that they go 6-0. But it's possible. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities for the way that I look at it. And I have rose-colored glasses a lot with this school and with this team. I want them to do well, just as much as Jordan does, just as much as every athlete does that comes in here and talks to us. They want to do well. And I think eventually this hard work is going to pay off. Everything that Brian Sisson is doing, everything that all of our new coaches are doing, the excellent media coverage that St. Mary's now has with the Squeeze. It's all contributing. We're all contributing to possible MIAC playoff appearances. And eventually, maybe by the time I'm out of here in my 5th year, we'll be talking about MIAC champions. You never know.
You never know.
Rose-colored glasses. You're not so rose-colored, but
it's hard, dude.
it is hard.
It's hard.
The thing is, I came from Illinois. I didn't know anything about the MIAC. I didn't research anything when I was being recruited here. If I would have, I probably wouldn't have come. So maybe that was a good thing that Niels never asked me to do that. But we really have been, it's your favorite word, what? Little children of the poor? What is it?
Little sisters of the poor.
Little sisters of the poor. St. Mary's really, every time I look, 7-16-1 all time against Olaf, 1-23 all time against St. Ben's for the women, 4-28-2 all time against St. Olaf for the men, 5-27 all time for St. We almost deserve a 30 for 30 for how bad that we have been throughout the course of history in this conference. And it's just a bummer, because if you look at us and we have so many individuals and we have so many good coaches and we have a really good infrastructure. We don't have the best facilities, but everything else, you can see it coming. You can see it. And the stigma of St. Mary's being the worst school in the conference is still there. And we're no longer the worst school in the conference. I think it's 3 of our 4 winter sports made the playoffs last year. These 2 soccer teams have a chance to make the playoffs this year. We're no longer the little tiny program that you can just kick around every year. I think we can see the progress coming to fruition finally.
Yeah, baseball too.
Baseball.
Yeah.
Both hockey teams, both basketball teams. Guys, I'm so excited for both basketball teams. What Coach Foley and Coach Williams are doing in practice, not yet, but what they're going to be doing in practice, they've talked to me about it. They are going to play like the Augsburg Aggies. The Augsburg Aggies are one of the most fun teams to watch in the conference because they press, they run the ball. It's going to be a great thing that Brandy Blattner is gone. She was an amazing player, All-American. But at times last year, it looked like they were just giving her the ball and watching her work. That's not going to happen this year. I think they're going to be a much better team. I think they're going to win a lot more games, and they're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to have a chance to win a playoff game or 2, hopefully. And then the men, my favorite team on campus, hands down, Coach Fano, fellow Fenwick Friar, a little bit of a bias there. I understand. Eli Cave, I think Donnie never agrees with me when I say this, Donnie Nadeau. He has a chance to be MIAC Player of the Year. Now, riddle me this. He says, well, what if we don't win anything? He's not going to win MIAC Player of the Year. I look at it the other way. What if for the first time in X amount of years, I don't know it specifically, Eli Cave averages 25 points a game, 6 rebounds and 3 assists, and St. Mary's makes the playoffs? I don't care if Booker Copeland has better numbers. I think Eli Cave would deserve MIAC Player of the Year for that kind of turnaround of a program that he could possibly bring.
It shouldn't matter what your team's record is.
But it does. It really does in Donnie's mind for some reason.
I don't think it does. I don't. If you're in hockey and you score 30 more goals than the other guys, your team's in last place, you score all the goals.
It doesn't matter.
Come on.
Yeah. I think basketball's a little bit of a different sport. Hockey, one player cannot really take over a game the same way that you can in basketball. In basketball, a lot of times the team with the best player wins. So if Eli Cave is one of the best players, the team is going to win. I think it's a little bit of a different conversation.
Yeah, hockey is different.
We've gone down a little bit of a rabbit hole. I love when we do that. I love when we go down rabbit holes. It's so much more fun than talking about what we want to talk about. What we do want to talk about, though, roughing the passer in the NFL. Oh, wait, the elephant in the room. Why are we doing a 2-hour squeeze? I kind of forgot to mention. My first show yesterday got canceled because of the gosh darn Twins, who can't seem to win a baseball game. KWNO broadcasts the Twins game. They also broadcast college football on Westwood One. So right in between there is where my show would have been. But they just, I don't know. We didn't have it. So we're doing a 2-hour squeeze, which is fine. I love doing the squeeze. And that's also why we're talking about other sports. In 2 weeks, 2 weekends.
I was thinking if I come visit you.
We could do a squeeze in the morning. We could do that. That might be fun, just from my house.
I was going to go down to Notre Dame this Sunday and watch my friend play college hockey, but my friend I was supposed to go with can't go anymore. He has baseball, so
we'll see.
Right now I'm not going, but I could persuade someone.
We'll see. It'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. But so next weekend, no squeeze unless he makes it to my house somehow. So in 2 weeks, we will be back. It'll be 11 to noon. Just St. Mary's Sports. We will be the St. Mary's Sports hub for all St. Mary's fans. You know what we really need to do is we need to start advertising to alumni somehow. I don't know how we're going to do it, but maybe there's a way. If you're listening and you're an alumni.
There's alumni here this weekend.
Yeah, we should have. We really should have. But roughing the passer has been an issue in the NFL for 2 seasons now? A couple things happened over the weekend. Clay Matthews had another roughing the passer call that was a little suspect, but I have my opinions, and I'll share that in a second. The Bears-Broncos game, yes, the Broncos pretty much lost the game because of a blown roughing the passer call, but the Bears had 2 before that. So it seems to go both ways. It doesn't seem to be one team getting, screwed and the other team just being okay. These calls, I want to make something clear, Frankie Back-Lars. I want to make something clear. These refs aren't blowing these calls. It's very explicit in the rule book what you can and cannot do to a quarterback. And most of the time when these roughing the passer calls are made, they're making the correct calls. Now, the question and the discussion that I want to have with you right now is, do you like the calls?
I hate the calls.
You hate the calls. I kind of like the calls. No. So I'm going to make my case for why I like the calls, and then I want you to disagree with me.
Don't play football. Man.
That's the whole point. Okay, but this is the thing. Yes, roughing the passer calls are hurting your viewing experience. But do you know what else hurts your viewing experience and is really the reason why these roughing the passer calls are a thing? Watching backup quarterbacks play football.
Daniel Jones, and Kyle Allen, I'm sure liking watching them.
I mean, that's different because they're prospects.
Gardner Minshew, he was a backup.
That's true, but I would rather see Drew Brees play than Teddy Bridgewater. Yes, he's had a great couple of games, and it's been a great story.
What was his injury from? It wasn't from roughing the passer.
I know,
that's
but
just what happened.
These roughing the passer calls, if they weren't around anymore, or if they were called like they used to be called, quarterbacks would be getting hurt a lot more. As much as I love to see Aaron Rodgers' collarbone broke, I also love to see Aaron Rodgers playing football. And that's why I think these are important. You can question whether or not, there's a valid reason to protect one category or one position over another, but I think it is valid.
I think then the quarterbacks, they got to get the ball faster out of their hand. If there was a rough in the passer, like if they were allowed to hit him and stuff, you would see them releasing the ball a little faster. I don't like to just watch some of the quarterbacks just sit back there for 5 seconds now because the D linemen don't want to hit them.
Yeah,
I feel like we would get a lot more faster pace than if they would let that happen. I don't know. I don't like it.
No, that's
football.
Yeah, that's an unintended consequence that I hadn't really thought about. It does slow the game down a little bit.
I see the quarterback sit in the pocket. You see Aaron Rodgers, when he has those Hail Marys, that guy's sitting back there for 15 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little different. It's only a 3-man rush. You have so many players.
But still.
Defending the pass. But I think the other thing that I hear a lot about these calls is that what is a defender supposed to do is something that you hear a lot. And that was the Colin Cowherd, make your defending point sound stupid. And this is what I have to say, and I'm again biased. I'm going to expose my biases. Khalil Mack has been on the Bears for 2 years now. I've been following Khalil Mack for 2 years now. He did win a Defensive Player of the Year before he was a Bear. I don't know if you knew that. But he has had one roughing the passer penalty, one, as a Chicago Bear. He's hit the quarterback 37 times. And in those 37 times, once was he called for a roughing the
I
passer
think
penalty.
people are scared to call it.
Okay,
For him.
that's not no.
Honestly.
You look at Clay Matthews and Frankie. You're over there. You're a Packers fan.
Yeah.
You remember last year he had what three?
Like,
He had
yeah,
3 games in a row where he
yeah.
had a pretty bad roughing the passer penalty.
Yeah.
And what I want to point out is not that there's no conspiracy to Khalil Mack not give him penalties. What Khalil Mack
There's
does,
always
he
conspiracy.
changed his game, he changed his mentality, and he goes for the football. Because if you go for the football and you don't go for the big hit, you're safe. You're not gonna get called for roughing the passer. So change the way you play the game. Don't complain about the rules the way that they're written, and play within the rules. Clay Matthews, I said it last year to you. He's dumb. He's the fact that he's still getting called for roughing the passer plays as a Ram after having 5 of them last year means that he hasn't evolved. It's on him. Yes, it's hard. I get it. But it's on him to change the way he plays. And I don't know. Khalil Mack has clearly done that, and I'm sure there are many more examples of pass rushers who have changed their game to fit the rules.
It's not right. It's not football. I like football that you can tackle a guy and just fall on top of him. You don't get 15 yards and a free first down. I think that's so stupid, and it changes the game off of it. Why can they absolutely blast a wide? I know it's a quarterback, so it should be treated different. Why can't they just absolutely blast a wide receiver, no penalty at all, and then just fall on top of a quarterback? He literally falls on top of him.
Yeah, but there is even a trend in that direction for wide receivers. You can no longer hit a defenseless player. There are rules against blocking in
You
the
can
back.
still bury him.
You can, but you have to, the rules have constricted a little bit, and you have to evolve and change the way you play the game. For the most part, okay, football is not a safe game, nor will it ever be a safe game. It just isn't. I probably won't let my kids play it. Whatever. You played it, Frankie, right?
Yeah.
You didn't play
Yeah, it
it.
explains a lot. Explains a
It
lot.
explains a lot. You didn't play it, right? You did
I
not.
played till 8th
You
grade.
played till 8th grade. Okay, I played for a summer and it was a nightmare. But it's inherently a dangerous game. So there is an argument, and that is your argument, to say we all know it's dangerous. Just leave it dangerous. Leave it fun to watch.
I don't say leave it dangerous. I just think when you fall on top of a guy, you don't get a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah.
You fall on top of him.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna
And that's
if you're gonna blast him in the head, yes.
okay. Yeah. If you fall on top of him, you might break his collarbone, and then Aaron Rodgers is out again. There
There wasn't a penalty on that one.
I know, but that's why that's why it's a penalty now.
That was a fair tackle.
Anthony Barr sucks.
Hey, Harrison Smith sucks too. He heard Mitchell Trubisky last year. That voice that you may have heard, I don't know, this microphone isn't that good, is the voice of Frankie Bacalars. We will be right back after this break, and we're going to do something pretty cool. We're going to draft some college football teams for this year, and whoever finishes with the highest overall seed, like additive of the seed, will have to do something.
Added of the rankings,
Additive of the rankings.
like what they're ranked.
At
That's
the
how many
rankings.
points you get.
At
And
the
you
end
want the
of the
least
year.
amount.
Yes. You want the least amount to win, but we don't care about winners. We only care about losers. So whoever has the highest amount will have to do something embarrassing. So
Have I ate that thing yet?
you haven't. No.
What was it?
That stuff was in my fridge forever. It was, what was it? Prunes? No, it was something.
Dates?
Oh,
No, not dates. This is a bummer. I can't, we'll figure it out after the break. So tune in for Frankie Bacalars, and we're going to talk about some college football. You're listening to The Squeeze. Anthony Pasquesi, Frankie Bacalars, Alec Root is our producer. He's over there off camera. Do you like being off camera or do you like being on camera?
I don't like touching legs and trying to get 3 people in camera.
Okay, that's fine. It
It's
just
a radio
it
show.
don't wanna
kind of
touch
looks like you
legs.
don't like us, so it's whatever.
It's a radio show.
I guess it's fine.
Alex doesn't like touching legs like
No, I
us.
I like women. I don't like.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
The aesthetic of the show is lacking today because Alex off screen. You can't see Frankie's awesome hair because he's wearing a hat.
Oh, I can take that.
We are. Oh, there we go.
There it
Whoa.
is.
There we go. We are showcasing both of the Squeeze T-shirts though, so that's good. These are like if you have one of these, you're an OG Squeeze person.
The white one, yeah.
You have a white
yesterday.
one. Oh, you wore it yesterday? Yeah. A lot of the soccer guys have them and they wear them, but they don't ever want to come on the show anymore, so they're never going to get a black shirt, which I guess is fine. But let's forget about that. See, going down rabbit holes, it's what we do best. We are going to just start right away with this little college football draft thing. And we didn't even talk about it over the break. So let's just think in the back of our minds, don't think out loud, but think of a punishment for the loser of this draft. Alex still has to eat beets. He never ate the beets from last year. They were in my fridge all year long, and I just kept forgetting to bring them. So let's just think of something, not too gross, something that we could do for the loser of this draft.
$100.
$100. We can't do that, Alec.
Whoa.
We cannot do that. That's not allowed.
100
Actually, I don't think we're allowed to bet at all,
No, we're not.
even with money, like without money. I don't think we can bet anything.
I don't know.
Okay, that's okay.
Do I-
NCAA
do
is
I do it?
confusing.
You know what? Everything's shifting. You never
NCAA is
know.
confusing. And we can get
NCAA.
paid now.
We could, well, not yet.
Not us.
You don't go to you don't live in California, and that doesn't happen until 2023. But because you're the guest, you're gonna go first, and then Alec, I'll give you the choice. Would you rather have the second pick or the third and fourth pick?
Second.
You're gonna take number 2, which is probably smart. So I'll go 3, 4, and then we'll do a snake draft.
Okay.
So Frankie Bacalars, our esteemed guest, more knowledgeable than anyone else in the world in college football. What's your first pick?
I'm gonna go Georgia.
Georgia. Wow.
I'm gonna go Georgia.
So that means, just to whiteboard it, you think Georgia's going to be number 1 at the end of the
Yeah.
year. Okay.
Yeah.
That's bold. That's bold for sure. Alec Root, Clemson.
Yep.
Clemson. And now, as much as this hurts,
Yeah, you're gonna have it. I should have a 3 and 4.
as much as this hurts me to say, I'm picking Alabama. And then it gets kind of tricky. I mean, I feel like Ohio State's going to run the table. They've looked incredible all season long against a pretty weak Big Ten East. So I don't think they're going to lose. And if they don't lose, they win out. The fact, they're going to make the playoffs. So I'm going to go OSU as well. Ohio State, Alabama and Ohio State. So Alec, you're next. Who are you taking?
Oklahoma. They'll finish undefeated.
Oklahoma. Now, if let's say Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma, and Ohio State all finish undefeated, is Oklahoma still making it?
If Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State.
I'll make it. And Georgia has 1 loss to Alabama.
Oh, that's the undefeated teams.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Okay, because that same thing happened last year where I think Georgia deserved to make it, and they didn't because Oklahoma was
If you're
undefeated.
undefeated and you're a Power 5 team, you're in.
Yeah, but they're like a low Power 5 team because the Big 12 is not good.
It's
No,
Oklahoma.
the Big 12 is terrible.
They would beat Texas twice probably.
Yeah.
They play next week.
Okay, it's a good pick. I hope that the committee learns from their mistake. I think last year,
Yeah.
and if a 1-loss Georgia team is there, and the only loss that they have is a close loss to Alabama, they're clearly a better team.
Yeah.
So I hope they figure it out, and Georgia makes it.
Well, I just drafted them, so I hope they
you
figure it out too.
in that weird
You got the
situation.
next team.
Who you got? You got the next 2. Who you got?
Next 2, Wisconsin.
Wow,
Throw Wisconsin in there.
So
They
that-
looked beautiful yesterday, Squeeze.
Yeah.
They looked beautiful.
Who,
And then
who they play again?
doesn't matter who
Okay,
they play.
yeah, no, it doesn't
They play a Division I football
Yeah,
team.
there you go. I like it. I
And
like
then-
it. I like the way you think.
And then I'm gonna go LSU.
LSU.
My next one for my
Okay.
next one.
LSU. You were probably going to pick them, Alec, right? They were your dark horse for a while.
LSU. I'm just excited because I'm going to watch them. That's
Okay.
why.
Yeah.
So you just want them to be good when you go.
He's just
I need both teams undefeated,
Yeah.
or Alabama will be undefeated. That's
the
it.
game will not be the same for Alec if they're both not undefeated.
Who you going with for that one?
2 high school friends.
Okay, that's awesome.
15 hours there on Friday, 15 hours back on Sunday.
Eek.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
I'm so pumped.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. Who you got?
Oh, this is tough.
I know it's getting.
Yeah,
This
it
is
getting
really
tougher.
tough, actually.
Can't say UCF anymore.
You already you can't say Auburn anymore. We have the top 8 ranked teams already gone. Oh, I don't want to pick Notre Dame.
Please don't.
Yeah, I was thinking about saying
Please
it.
don't.
I was thinking about it. I knew Squeeze wanted them.
That's my team.
I thought if Squeeze doesn't pick Wisconsin, I won't pick Notre Dame. Like Squeeze would ever pick Wisconsin.
Hey, I love Wisconsin too. They're my Big Ten team. My cousin, Zach Zymek.
Census on
Did you go
rankings.
there?
Yeah, he went there. He
Oh,
was a
yeah.
decathlete. He was actually Big Ten
Really?
champ in the pole vault.
Wow.
It
Huge.
won- yeah.
Zach.
It was awesome.
Shout out to Zach.
Zach Zymek. He's also an Olympian. Yeah.
What? Your
He's
cousin?
He's pretty cool. He's a pretty cool guy.
Have we not talked about this?
I guess not. But he went to Wisconsin.
He's
Oh.
lying.
I'm not lying.
It's all
I
just
promise.
a big.
This is when I normally pull out my Twitter and say, "Look, he's verified. He follows me."
follows me. I have yet to get a verified follower on Twitter.
Really?
Yeah, I'm waiting for it though.
Okay. You know, when I'm verified, when
Yeah.
Squeeze is verified, there you go.
Okay.
I don't even actually think the Squeeze follows you yet. We probably should.
No, I think you do.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you do.
Okay. What
I follow
we're
you.
we're stalling for you, Alec. Come on, figure it out.
Two teams.
We're just having
We're
a
just
conversation.
exchanging over here.
All right. Census on rankings. Boise State.
Boise State. You think okay? That's
They'll be top 15 this week, and they have a chance of going undefeated.
that was a weird pick. That was a really weird pick. I get the next two. Let's go. I don't have I do have a Big Ten team. I was about to say I don't have a Big Ten team. Obviously Notre Dame. That's easy. Thank you for not picking them. Notre Dame, favorite team. I'm a homer. Whatever. I think if they stick around, they also have a shot, maybe at the playoff. An outside shot because they did lose to Georgia, but they lost to Georgia in a good loss.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna pick Florida. Florida
They
has
lose next week.
yeah, but just like you said, Boise State, they're going to finish around the top 10 probably. So who you got? Who's your
I
last pick, Alec?
want to go Penn State.
It's not you. It's him.
Oh, what?
Snake.
It's a snake draft.
What?
It's a snake draft, baby.
Yeah.
I lost track of our order.
Not paying attention. That's okay.
Who are you?
I'll go with Oregon.
Oregon. Wow.
That was
Why?
my backup,
Why
so.
for that?
Because I don't know if they'll lose again.
Okay.
They already got one loss. I don't think they'll lose a Pac-12 game. They might.
Okay.
That's why I chose Boise State
Solid.
over.
I think it's a solid pick.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Solid pick.
I like the Ducks.
I was between them and Penn State.
I like the Ducks, man. Remember when they had Mariota? Those were some fun teams.
Oh my gosh.
Marcus
What was it, Thomas or
Yeah.
the really
Oh,
D'Anthony Thomas?
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. And those
Super fast. He
uniforms.
just torched Wisconsin in the
Yeah.
Rose Bowl.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
See, that was back when I was a Wisconsin fan because
Really?
Zach was at Wisconsin. Yeah. Okay, who you got? This is the last pick in the draft.
I want to go Penn State, but I'm kind of scared to do two Big Ten teams just
Mhm.
because that's not going to work out super well because they're going to lose.
We're gonna beat each other up.
They'll beat each other up. Exactly. You don't want to too many cooks in the kitchen.
SMU.
They
Shut
just
up.
lost.
Shut up.
Oh wait, no, they just won
Yeah,
in a really
they
close
did.
They're
game.
ranked.
They are
They're
ranked.
24.
Yeah.
They're not going to make the
No,
playoff
they're
or anything. So
Well, I mean, none of these teams are.
let me go Washington.
Washington.
Yeah.
Like it. Okay.
Did you see
What?
happened? They lost yesterday.
It doesn't matter. He picked it. That's it. That's it. That's it.
My
That's
pick
it.
is in.
He's
They
our
got
college
Oregon.
football.
Oh, that does scare me. They do have
They
Oregon.
lost last night.
He's our college football expert. He knows
Yeah.
what he's talking about.
Alec.
So Alec, I think Jimmy's in the hallway, so just go let him know. And we're gonna run through. So Frankie, Georgia, Wisconsin, LSU, Washington. He does have two SEC teams, a Big Ten team, and a Pac-12 team. Alec, Clemson, Oklahoma, Boise State, Oregon. He's spread his love all around and doesn't have a single SEC team. And
Which
then
is surprising.
that is surprising. And then Anthony, that's me. Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Florida. So I have two SEC teams, an independent, which is weird, and Big Ten. Do you have an opinion on the independent thing? Or no?
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't really.
Join a
either.
I think
conference.
Notre Dame's schedule is cool. If it was
if
they had a dumb
Then they would
schedule,
have
But
to
I
play.
think there's
I
a
like how-
feeling behind like being a conference champ and like being in a conference with people and
Yeah.
having that rivalry.
Yeah.
So I don't like it.
Yeah, but then they
they
wouldn't.
still have kind of rivalries, I would say.
I mean, yeah, but
I mean,
it's not the
Michigan
same.
is awesome.
I think there's
Michigan
Stanford
State is
games
awesome.
on.
Stanford, USC, those are all. You're totally
Yeah,
right. They
they
wouldn't
are,
have
but-
those rivalries if it weren't for being independent.
USC.
True, but
Yeah,
I think there's just a feeling behind being in a conference that
And also, it hurts them come playoff time because they are lacking a game. They're lacking a game.
They're in the
that
Big
everybody else
Ten.
plays.
Hockey's and they're in the Big Ten.
They are. And then in basketball,
Yeah.
they're in the ACC. Like, it's
Yeah.
a really weird thing that they got going over there with
The
the
whole
Golden
St.
Gophers.
Thomas thing they got going on here now.
Let's look at that segue. You're learning.
Yeah.
Nice job, buddy. So Frankie came to me and he said, Squeeze, I want to talk about St. Thomas. So what do you want to say about St.
St.
Thomas?
Thomas, I think they're going to not do well if they go Division One.
Okay.
I think it is a
Which
horrible, terrible mistake they're making.
they are going Division 1, aren't they?
It just
No,
needs to get
not-
approved by the
Oh,
Donnie
NCAA.
thinks they're not even going to get approved.
Oh, really?
Cool, because you need to go. They
No team has
recommend.
ever done 3-1.
They recommend you do 12 years in Division Two
Wow.
before you make the jump to Division One, and there's like grace periods and stuff too, because they're still in the MIAC till my senior year,
Yeah.
and I guess your senior year too.
Yep. Wait, no,
Technically.
they're in the MIAC. This is their last year, isn't
No,
it?
they got one.
They got one
No,
more
this year and next year. So
Oh,
our
bummer.
your fifth year, my
Yeah.
senior year,
Yeah.
that'll be the first year they're gone.
Okay.
And yeah, so they recommend 12 years in Division Two before you make the jump. No one's ever gone 3-1. St. Thomas thinks they're just the big man in the country, and they we want to be the first to go D1. I don't think it's going to go well for them. And the driving force behind them doing this is their football team, and the Summit League doesn't even have football.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Summit League doesn't have
They
football.
would find something.
So that they'd probably be in the Horizon League for football or
They
something.
would join NDSU's conference.
So they'd be
FCS.
Oh, FCS.
FCS is
Okay.
that's what they're thinking for football. And even then, NDSU, I'd love to watch St. Thomas play NDSU.
Yeah, I don't care what your opinion is of St. Thomas in the MIAC. I think we can all agree we dislike them
Yeah, that's-
greatly. So it is
true.
wherever they go, they're going to get destroyed their first year, I think.
Yeah.
And then they'll pick it up because they'll finally.
I think if they went to the Northern Sun Division Two, I
yeah,
don't think it'd be terrible for them because the Northern Sun, I mean, they have Mankato and
Yeah.
Winona State's pretty good, but other than that, Bemidji State, like I don't know where Bemidji is. I don't St. Cloud
South Dakota?
State.
No,
Bemidji's-
Bemidji's in Minnesota.
is it?
The only
Bemidji State's not.
the
bad.
only not
Bemidji State's football
they're
team.
the Beavers. That's all I need to know.
Okay.
Their football team can
They're
play.
the Beavers.
They can,
Okay.
they can play.
What's wrong with being called Beavers?
That's just a tear.
They were
weird.
It's like
national.
Upper Iowa, the Peacocks.
The Peacocks. That's a
They
quality.
were
name.
national ranked 2 years ago.
Upper Iowa
No,
or
Bemidji.
Bemidji?
Okay, we're just
Yeah.
many trains of
Hockey
thought here.
teams-
Maybe it's just my Wisconsin.
What are we doing? We're talking about hockey in
There's
Wisconsin.
no such thing as Division Two hockey.
What are we doing?
They're D1. I said.
Oh,
Yeah, well, they will, and they'll probably get absolutely crushed. I mean, you don't think so, right?
I think in 7 years.
yeah.
Well, obviously, yeah. They.
Well, it's a given they're going to get crushed.
I know it's.
and now they
awesome.
can hand out scholarships because they haven't been before.
Okay,
They've never
don't
handed
do
out
that on this radio
scholarships.
show. Don't do that. I'm not getting in trouble for your freaking.
Say it.
Don't. Do not say it. I have one closing thought. Going to that St. John's soccer game yesterday, we've been having the conversation. Who are we all going to hate in the MIAC? Like, who's it going to be? It's going to be St. John's. They are just.
It's gonna have to.
They're
be,
the
yeah.
worst. They're the worst. I'm sorry, but
I
they
don't like
talk.
I hate Bethel.
You don't like Bethel?
Yeah. 'Cause they're really good at tennis, aren't they?
No.
Who's the really good?
Gustavus.
Gustavus is
Here we
really
go
good.
again. Just so many highway exits. We're just getting off on every highway exit.
That's fine.
Anytime anyone thinks
It's good.
of anything,
It's good.
let's
air.
just say it.
It's good.
It's the energy is
It's
electric.
not blank air.
The energy is electric. Thank you, Frankie, for another
Thank you.
awesome appearance. We've been grading you every week. I think this is safe to say this has been an A. This has
Wow.
been an A this
My
week.
first
After
A.
the Washington pick,
It's
C.
his
My
first
first-
A. He might know something that you don't. You don't know.
My
they
first-
just lost again.
That's my first A this
It's your
semester.
first A this semester.
So
You're creeping up
huge.
there. Yeah. We won't be back on the air next week. I mean, you can try if you want. You can come down here. I mean,
I'll be
You
home.
won't be home.
Actually, I'll be in Madison,
Oh, there you go.
Wisconsin, Michigan State.
There you go. You can go say hi to
I
Dad.
can do a live segment from the game.
You could if you wanted to. But we will be back in 2 weeks. He'll be here. You're going to be the only segment of the show that isn't St. Mary's. So that you should feel really good about that. Yeah, it's going to be a St. Mary's show other than Frankie Becklar's. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk to Jimmy Perot, resident of Batavia, Illinois. Also one of the 3 goalkeepers here at St. Mary's. We're going to talk about his awesome showing against Augsburg last weekend and get a little more insight into this goalkeeping competition that we've had all season long. Thanks for listening to The Squeeze. We'll be right back. You are listening to The Squeeze here on YouTube. I'm Anthony Pasquazi. That's Alec Rude. And I've been saying your name, hopefully correctly, Jimmy Perot.
Yeah, you got it perfect.
Jimmy Perot. Awesome. So this is Jimmy Perot, senior here on the St. Mary's soccer team. He's a goalie. So why did you, this is always a question I have with goalies. Why did you, pick up being a goaltender?
All right, I'm not going to lie. When I was in 8th grade, I had a coach that loved to make us do sprints. And so I just, I found that being a goalie just got me out of running. So stuck with that ever since.
My type of guy. Let's go. That's awesome. And, I think it's done some good things for you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So how has it been navigating the, ambiguity of a 3 goalie team? How has that gone so far this
It's
season?
been tough. Our coach has a very unorthodox style of, picking the starting goalkeeper each game. He likes to base it off who's, had the best practices that week, who's in form in that given time. And so, sometimes it's Maniac, sometimes it's me, Sam, as, you saw him play against Johns yesterday. So yeah, it's tough, but it always keeps us on our toes, keeps us on edge. So it's a good thing, really. I can't think of a game where any of us has had like a really poor performance.
Mhm.
So
Well, speaking of poor performances, that's something that didn't happen last Saturday against Augsburg. I watched the entire game. You made one mistake where you kind of kicked the ball out of bounds.
yeah,
It was a little embarrassing. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the 12 saves that Jimmy Perot had against a very quality Augsburg team in a 4-3 overtime victory. How? How did this happen, Jimmy Perot?
I was just running on adrenaline. Really, it was nuts. They're a strong side. They're a really good team. We've been trying to beat them all 4 years I've been here, probably longer too. And so yeah, they just kept peppering the shots in, and I was just doing my best to keep them out. It was wild. It was really wild.
It was wild. I have one in my head, and I think it was just an acrobatic punch.
Where I went back and
Oh
pushed it up.
my goodness. That thing has been, the Eli goal and that have been replaying in my head just nonstop. That was such an awesome game for your program. And I tweeted out some stuff about it. St. Mary's has not won 2 MIAC games in a row since 2015, which is not good. That's not good if you want to run a quality program. And that was your opportunity. You had beaten Augsburg, a very good team. St. Olaf, lower caliber, but still good.
Right.
Lower caliber team. And for the second year in a row, you lose 4-1 against St. Olaf. Why do they have your number?
I have no idea. It was a tough game to play into. It was 30 degrees with, sleet coming down on us. It was tough. So the weather conditions definitely inhibited our, ability to play our brand of soccer. But, I can't just say that. It was just tough coming out right after that. I think we all celebrated a bit too hard and got a bit cocky, if you will, for the following game. So it definitely put us in our place and, got us, I want to say, on the right track, because we played really strong against Johns. I can't say anything otherwise, but it was just a tough game to be in, really, on all sides. So.
Okay, so you're 1-3 in the MIAC after that one win against Augsburg. So you have 6 games remaining, and you need around 13 points to qualify for the playoffs typically. So you need 10 more.
Right.
For those of you who don't know, that would be 3 wins and a tie. That would be 10 points. 4 wins would be great and would further solidify that playoff spot.
5 too, yeah.
At 5, that'd be great too. And you kind of laugh again, Alec. You kind of chuckle. 1-3 Bethel, 2-0 Carleton, 1-3 Concordia, 1-3 Hamlin, McAllister, 3-1, and then St. Thomas, 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
I if I look at that and I stare at it for long enough and maybe squint a little bit, I can see 3 wins and a tie.
Absolutely.
Are you guys thinking the same thing?
Yeah, we're thinking more actually. We're a strong team. We are a really strong team, fueled by grit, heart, and determination. We have the belief in ourselves that we're going to be the hardest working team out there. And if we just continue to keep pushing and playing our brand, then, good things will happen. And so next Saturday, we got Bethel, and then who's it? Concordia and
Carleton.
Carleton. Yeah. Carleton. All games that we really believe that we can play. So yeah, I feel really confident going into these next few weeks of MIAC play that we'll be able to, squeeze out our victories.
Yeah, squeeze.
Yeah,
Look at that. Look at
Yeah,
that.
out of all the teams that you've played, in your years, what team do you hate the most?
Oh, that's a
Just
good
like
question.
personality. I've heard so much different stuff from Mateo,
Yeah.
Robbie, Josh.
So for me, I gotta say it's a tie between Johns and Olaf.
Oh.
Olaf mostly more over than Johns, I'd say, because of that stupid song they sing after every. I swear to God, they'll come. They came. What was it last year to our? No, 2 years ago to our place. And beat us 1-0 in overtime and started singing that song.
They singing at away games too.
Oh yeah. They ran up right into the center circle on the Cardinal and they were singing or chanting.
No
it, and everyone's
way.
like, it's like go to hell, you know. Sorry, can I say that? It's like,
You're fine. It's a YouTube show. Who cares? Actually, remember our first episode back after this year, our first episode of being a YouTube show, Coach Sager sits down and we interview him and he totally just drops an S-bomb. We're like, okay, good thing we're not on the radio.
Oh, that's awesome.
Actually, speaking of Coach Sager, what are your opinions on him?
Oh, I love him.
Okay.
He has been one of the key factors in turning around this program.
Yeah.
I've never met a man who has more belief in our team. And we want to attribute that Augsburg win straight to him too. All that strength and conditioning, putting in work, the 6 a.m.s, everything like that. It's all thanks to him, because without him, we wouldn't be able to, run like we do or play like we do. I couldn't, jump up and make a acrobatic save without, all that training he gives us. So I love Coach Sager. He really means a lot to our entire program.
Yeah, it's very similar to, I think, everybody's answer.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny. We said about Jordan Matthews, like, oh, why is she here? Sometimes I think, Matt Sager, why are you here?
Mm-hmm.
You're so good at your job. You could probably do whatever you wanted. And I asked him that question and he said, there's no place I'd rather be. He loves this program. He loves this school. And it's a blessing. He's a blessing.
He is a blessing. He really is.
I'm happy we all kind of notice it.
Oh, absolutely.
So from Batavia, Illinois, didn't
Yes,
know.
yeah.
I'm from Elmwood Park, so kind of
You
close.
went to Fenwick, right?
I went to Fenwick.
Yeah,
Where'd
so-
you go?
I went to Batavia High School.
Okay.
But somebody told me that.
Oh, gotcha.
I was like, okay, I know where that
Yeah,
is.
close. City of Windmills, Batavia.
Yes.
And then Fermi Labs is right there.
Yeah,
too.
Fermi Lab, right in the heart of Batavia.
Yeah. See,
Um,
I got my
You did your
Batavia
research.
knowledge. I got it. You're a senior finance entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Do you have anything lined up after school?
So I'm kind of building a business right now, actually.
What? Okay. Plug, please.
So my sophomore year, I pitched an idea to the Kabara entrepreneurship. They had an elevator pitch competition.
Oh, okay.
And so I had this idea to as a way of sanitizing shopping carts and wheelchairs using lighting. And so I pitched it and I ended up winning. And then so I've been working with the Kabara Institute since then to kind of bring the idea to fruition. And I made some awesome partnerships with people out in Rochester that begin manufacturing and everything.
That is so cool.
It's been pretty cool, yeah. And then I went around pitching to a bunch of different people. I pitched in front of 500 people at the Mayo Clinic last winter. So it was a lot of fun.
You ever gonna go on Shark Tank?
I don't know. I don't think I need that kind of investment, but I would love to just for publicity's sake.
That's so cool. Do you have a company name?
It's called the UV Canopy, so there's not really a name, but there's a name for that idea,
Okay.
I guess. Yeah.
That's so cool. I mean, congratulations.
So what is it again? Say it again.
So it's imagine a tunnel shaped structure, right? And then inside is UVC lights. These lights are so intense that they kill germs and bacteria.
Okay.
And so the lights are lined on the inside and you push a shopping cart or wheelchair through one side and it comes out the other completely.
Really?
Yeah.
Disinfected.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
That's
See, there's a lot of smart minds in Batavia,
Oh,
Illinois.
yeah.
Jimmy Perot is just the next one in a long line.
Thank you.
So one more question, and it's kind of a leading question. It's kind of I'm just
Go ahead,
going to be
yeah.
blunt. This goalie competition, there's 3 of you. You have Michael Maniac, you have Sam Morris, and you have yourself. What do you do better than them? What do they do better than you? Give us a little bit of an insight into that goalie room.
Well, that's a good question. We're all really close too. And so I can't really think of what sets me apart. I think my size and my frame, my ability to I like to think I'm more aggressive than the other one. So I'm more willing to come out and, punch the ball
Okay.
if needed, stuff like that. I think that's what sets me apart. At the same time, they both bring, insanely better advantages to the table, like Mike's reflexes, Sam's ability just to grab anything. We're all extremely good goalies. And so I really don't blame our coach for, putting us up together because we're just, we all want to play,
Mhm.
and it's really coming down to that. So
Yeah,
we
and
keep grinding.
I mean, this is an opinion. I'm not sure it's been working. I feel like from my personal view that if one of you got the starting job, you'd be able to find a rhythm and really work with your defense and your team, because there's times when you guys are yelling at your defense and
Of course.
I think if you would build that rapport over the course of multiple games, it just might be better overall for the team. But it seems like you've bought into Corbin's system.
Absolutely. And, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes too with us, bonding with, the center backs and everything, making sure that, we're all on the same page. So really, like, we like to think that, like, when we play different teams, coach likes to put in different goalies for the sake of like the different style of play. Because for instance, Sam's got a really strong leg, so he can boot the ball 3/4 length of the field, which is one of the things that contributed to why he played against Johns yesterday. Because as you guys saw, like, we weren't going short like we normally do off goal kicks. He was, pounding it up there. So that really, attributed or added to that. So yeah, it just really depends, I think. And no matter who's in, I feel confident that, we'll be able to, work out a victory, even if, luck doesn't always go our way. It's the St. Mary's curse. We just dropped the ball somehow, but
hey, that changed.
Yeah,
that changed
exactly.
last Saturday against Augsburg. So hopefully that really was a program-defining win. Thank you, Jimmy Perrell.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. It was a lot of fun.
This has been awesome. I'm happy you could come in. We'll be right back to kind of give you a recap of this week's games, both on the women's and men's side. We'll also talk about volleyball. They had themselves a tough week. This is Anthony Pasquesi, Alec Rude. You're listening to The Squeeze. Thank you so much. You're listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi, Alec Rude, YouTube. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. If you haven't liked this video already, please do so. I mean, if you like it, I guess. Only like it if you like it. If you don't like it, I mean, please don't dislike it because that really hurts. But yeah, hit that like button if you don't mind. So we've already kind of talked about everything that happened this week, but as we are a St. Mary Sports show, we want to go in depth into St. Mary Sports, and nobody does that better than Donnie Nadeau. Northfield, Minnesota, as if playing St. Olaf on the road in a key MIAC matchup wasn't tough enough, the St. Mary's University women's soccer team had to do so in a relentless driving rain Wednesday afternoon. This was last week. Unfortunately for the Cardinals, not even a 3-goal haymaker from Jordan Matthews could stop the old Mother Nature 1-2 punch. Look at Donnie. As St. Olaf scored the game-winning goal with 1:25 remaining in the second overtime and beating St. Mary's 4-3 at Rolf Melby Field. St. Olaf got on the scoreboard first with a goal by Haley Hoffman in the 14th minute, but the Ollie's lead would last just 10 minutes. Matthews off a feed from Nicole Thompson. Wow, so many squeeze names. Look at this. Rifled a shot over St. Olaf goalkeeper Bryn Davis for her team-leading 8th goal of the season to knot the game at 1-1. 8 minutes later, Matthews was added again, beating Davis for a second time, this one assisted by Kendall Archer. Hasn't been on the show. We got to get her on the show.
I know would come on either.
She totally would. To give the Cardinals their first lead of the game, 2-1. Once again, the lead was short-lived, however, as St. Olaf's Claire Bash converted a penalty kick less than 4 minutes after Matthews' second tally to pull the Ollies even 2-2. That's the story of their season. Something good happens, immediately something bad happens. After a 4-goal first half, neither team had much offensive success in the second half until the final 6 minutes, that is. Grace Maxwell gave St. Olaf its second lead of the game, 3-2, with 6 minutes remaining in regulation, just as Jordan told us earlier. It appeared as if the Ollies would maintain that 1-goal advantage over the final 6 minutes. Matthews, however, had other ideas. The sophomore pulled the Cardinals even once again, this time in dramatic fashion, completing her first collegiate hat trick with just 12 seconds on the clock to send the game into overtime. After a scoreless first overtime and a scoreless 8 minutes and 25 seconds of the second overtime, so close to getting out of there with a point. The Ollies stole a page out of Matthews' playbook, getting the game winner off the foot of Bash with 1:25 to play to give St. Olaf the win. In those conditions, man, I mean, that's all you could ask for. It was just one point. Just another heartbreaker. And it's just, you can tell. You heard it in Jordan's voice. She was an outsider. She didn't understand what happened last year. She didn't know. This happened a lot last year, and you can tell it's taking a toll on her. She mentioned it's taking a toll on the team. They need a win. That's what they need. They just need one MIAC win to prove to themselves that they can do it.
I can't remember if Bethel's good.
I have it right here. Bethel is 3-1, so I don't know who they've played, but yes, it looks like they're possibly pretty good. This happened yesterday. Another cold, windy, disgusting, wet day here at Okromovich Field. St. Benedict clamped down on St. Mary's University's Jordan Matthews. Man, she is just all over these. This, again, written by Donnie Nadeau. Keeping the Cardinals' red-hot sophomore off the scoreboard just 3 days after she recorded her first collegiate hat trick in Smooth's 4-3 overtime loss to St. Olaf. Unfortunately for Coach Neil Cassidy, the rest of the Cardinal offense was equally silent, as St. Benedict parlayed single goals in each half into a 2-0 MIAC victory over St. Mary's Saturday afternoon at Okromovich Field. Roxy Veldman, that's a name, proved to be a real thorn in the Cardinals' side Saturday as the CSB sophomore netted both Benny goals. The first 2:44, it was a dagger. I mean, right away, we were just sitting there talking about Megan Thompson and how she's so good, and right away, she just ball on her foot, gets past Kaylee Menglitz, beautiful pass to Roxy Feldman right there in the opening half. And the second with 29:01 remaining in regulation. I'm not going to lie, I was already in my room at that point in the day because I didn't have to be there because I wasn't working. So I watched my one half of St. Mary's women's soccer, and then I left because it was disgusting. Gabriella Peterson finished with 4 saves and goal for the Cardinals, while Kaylee Thulin and Paige Kallmeyer, 2 goalies, odd, combined on the shutout for CSB, with Thulin stopping the lone shot she faced, while Kallmeyer made a pair of saves. What? Did you even notice?
No.
That's hilarious.
Not one bit.
So no injury or anything. Just went with 2 goalies.
So. I wasn't really paying attention.
That's odd. Clearly you weren't.
I wasn't announcing.
You were dealing with other things. Holy cow. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen. If you have Alec Rude on Snapchat, please go and look on his story because
You can post it on the Squeeze Twitter.
I need to. I think I need to. Do you have it saved? Can you send it to me
Yeah.
after the show? I'm gonna post it on the Squeeze Twitter. The soccer game all the games here at St. Mary's are streamed pretty much with our play-by-play savant Alec Rude. And yesterday he wasn't on the play-by-play, but we were streaming. And at halftime, him and Colin Sturr were kicking the ball around, and Colin kicked himself in the face. And it's amazing. So we're gonna post it on the Squeeze Twitter. So yeah, I mean, speaking of Squeeze Twitter, I think Alec won the restaurant draft. So congrats.
I did?
I think you did. I haven't looked, but it was like 54 to 46 or something like that.
Too easy.
So here we go, just running it back again. It honestly just feels like Groundhog Day at this point. We sit here and we say, okay, St. Mary's, they probably should have won this week. They still have a chance, but that chance is wearing thinner and thinner with every MIAC loss. Or as Donnie says, setback, every MIAC setback. They're going to get right against University of Wisconsin Superior. They're probably going to win in a shutout. Jordan is probably going to have 2 goals. Hopefully Cassie can finally get involved for the first time in a while. Hopefully Mary Loy can score a little bit. I would put the over-under at 4.5 goals for St. Mary's, and I bet the over because I think they're going to crush University of Wisconsin Superior. Hopefully it's a get-right game. Hopefully they figure some things out. Hopefully they don't ride too high. This is something that Donnie has said a multitude of times. Their non-conference schedule every year is so weak
I know.
that it almost puts them at a disadvantage when they go to these MIAC games. I mean, you said it. Minnesota soccer, MIAC soccer is some of the best in the country. So you go from these little sisters of the poor, which I'm now adding to my repertoire, to these juggernauts of soccer teams, and you can tell that they're just not prepared sometimes.
It's all based on recruiting. St. Thomas and them, Gustavus, they're one of the volleyball team. They won the MIAC championship last year. And now they're 8-8 overall. And I look at that oh wow, I was shocked. And then I looked at who they played. I'm like, holy cow! If you want to be towards the top of the conference, I'm using volleyball as an example. You got to play the up top teams, and they're playing teams all the time. And I'm sure you can find teams that are better than whoever that team was.
A lot of bad teams.
That Marion team.
Who do we got? Well, here, let's just go through. I mean, here you go. Edgewood 2-1, Marion 3-0, Ripon 3-0, Martin Luther 3-0, and then one more, UW Stout 2-0. I mean, all of those were shutouts. I don't know. I wish they would take a page out of the men's playbook, because the men play tough non-conference schedules pretty much every season.
Yeah, they do.
And it toughens them up, and there's no shock. There's not as much of a shock when they go to MIAC play because they've already been through it.
That's why the guys, like the girls in the game yesterday, you could tell the feeling just the whole game was that they're probably not going to tie this one up. The guys, every game you feel like they have a chance because they always keep it close.
Yeah.
The girls, they've done better this year, but it's just a different feeling, guys, the girls, I think.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the guys, with a steady downpour and temperatures hovering in the upper 40s throughout, it kind of sounds like yesterday, the St. Mary's University men's soccer team's game at St. Olaf Tuesday afternoon was downright miserable. And a trio of second-half St. Olaf goals certainly did not help matters. The Olies broke a 1-1 deadlock by scoring 3 times in a 19-minute span midway through the game's final 45 minutes, lifting St. Olaf to a 4-1 Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference victory over the Cardinals at Ralph Melby Field. We got to ask him why he doesn't just write MIAC, because every time it trips me up and I don't know what to say.
It's extra words.
I guess it's extra words. Does he get paid by the word like Charles Dickens?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. The Olies wasted time getting the scoring started, netting the game's first goal off the foot of Sandy Faird just 2 minutes into the first half. It took the Cardinals 6 minutes to pull even as Armenia Senek took a feed from Robbie Sobzak and rifled a shot over St. Olaf goalkeeper Hamza Osman, the names in this, and into the upper left-hand corner of this for his third of the season and second in as many games. The game remained deadlocked until the 54th minute when Keith Lucas headed a Thierno Gaye free kick over the outstretched arms of Cardinal goalkeeper Jimmy Perreault to give the Olies the lead for good. These names are ridiculous. Fareed would net his second and third of the game less than 3 minutes apart with less than 20 minutes remaining in regulation to ice the victory. Perreault, who stopped a career-high 12 shots in Saturday's 4-3 conference win over Augsburg, finished with 4 saves for the St. Mary's, while Osmond stopped 2 of the Cardinals' 3 shots on goal. So I didn't watch the game. You said you watched the whole game. There's something missing in Donnie's recollection or retelling of the story, and that is a red card for the Cardinals. And then right after the red card, everything fell apart.
Marco Hernandez, he got a red card, and you can't play a player down. It was early in the second half, and you can't play. That's too long.
Yeah.
And you're too tired then, especially in the second half.
Yeah, it's tough. I've heard differing opinions. You say it was warranted. I've heard of some people say it wasn't warranted and that it was kind of inadvertent.
Corbin didn't argue. If he doesn't argue, then
Corbin doesn't argue very much.
he's getting up there.
Does he?
He's starting to talk a little more.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I just had another idea. Although I don't know if this will put us in favor with the coaches. We should probably be in favor with the coaches most of the time. We should do a coach draft.
That'd be good.
How fun would that be? We're
I'd
just
like that.
coming up with so many ideas. Because to this day, the best maybe episode, or at least the best segment of the Squeeze, was that SMU athlete draft.
Mhm.
That was more people talked about that. More people retweeted that than any other tweet. I think it had like 7,000 impressions or something.
Really?
So yeah, I mean, I think people like that kind of stuff. Maybe we'll do it
Drafts are fun.
heading into the winter. The winter games is what I was about to say. So the winter season. So men's soccer, like I said, 4-28-2 against St. Olaf, 5-27 all time against St. John's. Winona, Minnesota. SMU's men's soccer coach Corbin Bowers has got to be scratching his head, wondering what he ever did to make Mother Nature so angry at him. Donnie is on a roll. He's on a roll. I wish I had read that with more fervor. For the second time in less than a week, Bowers and the Cardinals have felt the full force of Mother Nature's wrath, taking the field for Saturday's Mayak showdown against St. John's in a driving rain and temps hovering in the upper 40s yet again. That's generous. It was a little colder than upper
freezing.
40s. It was freezing. And unfortunately for the Cardinals, Saturday's rain-soaked outcome wasn't any more favorable than Tuesday's 4-1 loss at St. Olaf. St. John's jumped out to a 3-1 halftime advantage, and things were looking bleak. Then held off a furious Cardinals second-half rally as the Johnnies dealt St. Mary's a 5-3 conference setback, there it is, at Okremovich Field. SJU opened the scoring in the 10th minute, getting a goal from Kagan Foster, his 6th of the season, to grab an early 1-0 lead. The lead did not last long, however, as Josh Balsiger matched Foster's effort with his own 6th goal of the season 7 minutes later to pull St. Mary's even 1-1. And boy, did that feel good. Just so good. St. John's were talking. They were chipping. I mean, the coach was
Jimmy hates him.
The coach was talking to Josh Balsiger while he was on the field. It is not fun stuff. The remainder of the half, however, belonged to the Johnnies, who got goals from Nathan Stone and Ben Becker, easy names, before the half ended to take a 3-1 advantage into the locker room at the break. Into the locker room. That's funny. Foster pushed the SJU lead to 4-1 just 2 minutes into the second half, but the Cardinals weren't about to throw in the rain-soaked towel. Answering with back-to-back goals from Eli Szymanski and Jacob Clements, 30 seconds apart, 10 minutes after Foster's second tally of the game to pull St. Mary's within 4-3. I'm losing it. Donnie was he's all you need to do is add weather into the equation.
Yesterday, I think he tweeted out the Cardinals are so hot that we
busted
the power again.
It's awesome. That would be as close as the Cardinals would get as Brian Pacelli, maybe Pacelli, gave the Johnnies a little breathing room with less than 6 minutes remaining in regulation to round out the scoring. Sam Morris, a little shaky. St. John's was really good. The defense, it probably a lot of those goals were on the defense. Finished with 5 saves and goal for the Cardinals, while Peyton Spencer recorded 3 saves for the Johnnies. When you're a goalie and you have 5 saves, a lot of times that's enough. You know, you're doing your job, but giving up 5 goals is tough.
And they didn't have Robbie back there. Rob moved up to mid.
But it was good to see Henry Kelly back. That was nice to see. And the size, you mentioned, you came into the room yesterday and you're like, St. John's doesn't have a single starter under 6 foot. Like, they're huge. And other than Mateo, who is one of the best players on the field, St. Mary's goes toe-to-toe with these Mayak schools. And it's really refreshing to see. John Luke is huge. Henry Kelly is huge. Eli is huge. You know, like, you have these young guns who are, you know, they look like they belong out there, which is a change for the better, I think.
Yeah.
I cannot get over, honestly. I'm just smiley at Donnie's descriptions. The rain-soaked towel. They didn't throw in the rain-soaked towel. Just
He knows what he's
Amazing stuff.
journalism major. That's
Amazing
what he
stuff.
was.
Well, sometimes you can tell. I'm sure. I mean, we've talked about it before. Sometimes you can tell when he's really tired because he doesn't put like a lot of effort into it. Like the emails that come out at 2 a.m, just a little grammar here and there. This one, just quality Donnie work, 10 out of 10.
Last night, I had to bring him home last night, actually.
Oh, yeah?
And that guy,
He works harder than anybody.
oh,
I love him.
his weekends are tough.
Yeah.
Really tough.
Yeah. I mean, he deserves, they go on those awesome vacations every summer with Big Red. They just, or Little Red. He deserves every bit of those
Yes, he
vacations
does.
because he works his gosh darn butt off. And he's a linchpin. He's a linchpin of this St. Mary's athletic program? That's the word.
Department?
Athletic department. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. Volleyball. Do we even want to talk about volleyball? Volleyball had a tough week yet again. Cardinals come up empty versus number 19 in the country, UST, St. Thomas. St. Mary's University volleyball coach Jackie Kiker knew her Cardinals were going to have their hands full when they took the court Wednesday evening against St. Thomas. After all, the Tommies entered the MIAC matchup boasting a 14-3 overall record, having won 3 straight and boasting a number 19th ranking in the latest AVCA coaches poll. And St. Thomas certainly lived up to its billing as the Tommies used late rallies in all 3 sets and pulling away to deal the Cardinals a 3-0 setback at St. Mary's. Jim, were you on the play-by-play call?
Yes.
Give us a little insight.
I thought they played well. The sets were close. 2 out of the 3 sets, they were tied at 18, both sets, and they were hanging in, and St. Thomas wasn't playing bad. So I think they played well.
Okay. So
Obviously they weren't expected to win.
Yeah. So the 3-0 maybe a little misleading. They played better than a 3-0 showing.
I think so for sure.
Okay. And then they had another 3-0 showing. The SMU volleyball team has been very comfortable playing on the road this season. In fact, 9 of the Cardinals' 11 victories this season have come away from the St. Mary's gym. There you go. I like that. That's a good stat. Saturday evening, however, there was nothing comfortable about playing in Bethel's Robertson Center gym as the Royals proved to be very ungracious hosts in handing the Cardinals a 3-0 MIAC setback. The Royals outlasted the Cardinals 25-23 in the opening set. And never looked back. That's a heartbreaker. Completing the sweep with a 25-15 win, set 2, and a 25-20 victory in the third set. 2 3-0 showings.
Bethel's
2
good.
quality teams.
Yes.
2 very quality teams. I don't know. I think you expected them to be a little bit better than they have been.
I think just besides the Hamlin one's the only one.
Yeah.
I think besides that, I think everything's pretty similar to what they were expecting.
Okay.
That's what I think.
A little bit of a disappointing season. It's just the reason we don't talk about golf and cross country and track is because it's hard to place those teams within the MIAC because they go to these tournaments and they came in 21st place. Well, it was out of 60 teams. So, or they came in 3rd place out of 3. It's hard to figure out.
It is.
It's hard to talk about. Volleyball is not like that. There are standings, there are wins and losses. And I don't think they're playing up to my expectations.
Yeah, I think they've played tough teams. I think they still have a lot to show. They were projected to be right outside the playoffs. And if they would have beat Hamlin, they might be in the playoffs right now. So, and we were looking, Donnie and I, there's been some upsets in volleyball. So there's some teams that they could still play, and you never know with their schedule. They're like the women's soccer team where they've started out really tough for who they've played.
Okay.
Friday, they got their hands full. St. Ben's, they're sick.
Yeah, they're best team in the conference.
They're really good.
Yeah. Well, maybe the best team in the conference. St. Thomas is pretty good too.
Yeah.
Okay, this has been the squeeze. This has been a pretty good squeeze. We got one more segment coming up. We're going to talk about that California bill, the NCAA, players finally getting a little bit of what they're worth in the near future. So stick around for our last segment here on the squeeze. Thank you for listening. You're listening to The Squeeze. Anthony Pasquazi, Alec Rude. Was it October 6th again? I just have to remind myself that it's October. I love October so much, more than anything. I think it might be my favorite month.
March is mine.
Didn't we do a month draft one time? We did.
We didn't.
Yeah, we did.
No, we
We've done a March draft, or not a March draft. Yeah, days in March. My birthday would be number one. But yeah, we totally did a month
I
draft.
thought we did holidays.
We did holidays. We did months. We've been scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to drafts. We've got some good ones lined up though, so I'm kind of excited. I thought that college football draft today was fun. We'll see how that goes. We got to think of a losing thing. I don't know.
I know.
We're not very creative people, are we?
I'm not.
We're not. Neither of us are. We just like talking about sports. So some news broke over the course of this week. Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill, this is in California, to allow college players to hire agents, which is a big deal, and make money from endorsements. This bill would take effect in 2023. The goal is to have these athletes dip into college sports and the $14 billion industry that it was last year. So my question to you before I give my opinion, is this a good thing?
To be honest with you, I didn't do too much research on this, and I didn't really know much about it.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think it's a huge deal with it. It's just California, right?
Yep.
I don't know. It's tough to say. In one of my classes, I did a speech on paying athletes and stuff, and I don't think college athletes should be paid at all. I hate it. I think if you go D1 and get a scholarship, that's enough money. I don't think any advancements would do anything. I don't know.
We have talked about this before, and I've always thought it was interesting that you have that perspective, because as a college student and as an athlete, I would expect you to understand the hard work, that goes into it.
Yeah.
And if you boil it down, the amount of money that is made off of the backs of these athletes, the amount of work that they put in, and the scholarship, I mean, their hourly wage would be like $4 an hour for all the work that they do, So it's, I don't know. I see where you're coming from. And I think this is a great middle point, because I agree with you. I don't think college players should be paid by the university or by the NCAA. This is a great middle ground. The fact that you and I cannot profit off of our own face is ridiculous. It's the only, I love this. Danny Parkins on 670 The Score has this analogy every single time he brings this up. And it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. If I am a musician at a college, and I have a scholarship to be a musician, I can profit off of playing shows. I can profit off of giving lessons. I can profit off of my talent. And it works for any other thing. Whether you're a tutor or, you're using your talents to make money. Mm-hmm. Why is it that athletes can't do that? What is the point?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, maybe you should. Yeah.
Like, why? I don't get it. Why can I not, for obvious reasons, why can I not host a track camp, a long jump camp? Why can't I do that technically? What? It doesn't make a lot of sense. I get they don't want to. I don't get it. Why can you not be a professional athlete in some sense of the word and still go to college? It's the only thing that works like that, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just bring up a point like hosting your own camp. I think that's a good example you could use. I don't know. There's so many implications on it. To be honest with you, I'm not reading too hard into it unless I hear something really major happen. It's a good thing. And it's a good advancement.
This is major. This is like.
But I want to more than California.
Yeah, that's an issue. There is an issue with it just being California. Yeah. These schools are now going to have recruiting power, and they may become the St. Thomas of the NCAA. They're going to have this crazy recruiting power over.
I don't like that
else.
Each state can vote on it. I think it should be nationwide.
It should be, but the problem has been that the NCAA was never going to budge because, for some reason, this is their biggest rule. They don't want their athletes to profit off of themselves. So they were never going to budge. This may force the hand of the NCAA. It could also maybe be the death of the NCAA. We will see what happens over the course of these next 5 years. Yeah. 2023, again, is when this is going to be put into action. So let's say Minnesota doesn't want to fall behind California. Let's say Illinois does the same. They could put a bill into action and have it start by 2023. So you never know. The dominoes may begin to fall. This was the first domino. This was the biggest domino. And I'm excited to see capitalism work its magic. Because that's what we all subscribe to here in the United States of America is capitalism. For some reason, the NCAA in college sports has been a pretty strong dictatorship for all of history. And finally, we'll be able to see Marvin Bagley make his $150,000 for, his deal with Nike. Like, why is that bad? Why it's not gonna hurt individual schools. It's just gonna benefit athletes. I really see where it's going and I like where it's going. I agree with you. They shouldn't be paid out of pocket from the university. Then there would be unfair advantages and you would have even more, monopolistic programs.
Alabama football versus a lower swimming team.
Yeah. There are way too many doors that would have to be open, closed, and just way too many moving parts for players to be individually paid. How do you go about, paying the quarterback more than the lineman? How do you go, how do you set all of the different salaries? Are there salary cap? There's just too much and it's not worth it. I don't think it's worth the headache, but I think this is a great first step. It could be the only step. I would be fine now with these players who work their butts off, who possibly could get hurt and their careers could be over in college. Let's say your name is Trevor Lawrence and you've been playing 3 years at Clemson. And in your third year, you tear every tendon in your knee and you tear your labrum. Well, you just lost generational wealth for the rest of your life because you played in that last game for Clemson. Now, that burden would be lessened if over the course of those 3 years, he was already making millions of dollars. Yes, he'd still be losing out on the generational wealth, but at least he had been accumulating this payment for his services over the course of these 3 years. And that's what this will do. Mm-hmm. I think it's a win-win.
Yeah. And well, look at us, we're people that work at our school, they're getting paid to advance their stuff in their future for their future job and stuff.
Yeah.
Why can't athletes, their future jobs trying to become athletes, why can't they get paid for stuff that they're trying to do? So straight out of pocket, not a good idea, but yeah, I agree with you.
Perfect. Woo! Resolution. Figured it out.
Go tell the NCAA that.
Yeah. We'll see how this goes. So this has been The Squeeze. Thanks for listening very much. Thank you to Jordan Matthews. That was one of the best interviews we've ever done. Thank you to Frankie Bacalars. He deserved an A today, and we told him that. And then thanks to Jimmy Perreault, who I don't know. We didn't ask him if he's going to be in goal tomorrow. To be honest, he probably doesn't know.
I don't know. I think till they get ready for the game.
That's so crazy. I was happy I finally got it out there that I don't like it. But because Corbin told me at the beginning of the year, he said he was going to figure out a starting goalkeeper once they went into MIAC play, and he hasn't. So
I feel bad there's 3 of them. If there's 2 of them and they go every other, that's fine.
Yeah.
But 3 of them, that's hard.
Yeah, Maniac has been hurt a little bit, so that has played into it. Wow, we need to land the plane, Anthony. Land the plane. I guess we're landing it early, so we don't need to land it. But we will not be back next week. I will be on KWNO. I'll tweet something out for my personal account. Alec, what are you doing next weekend?
Going to Duluth Friday night, and then probably not going to Notre Dame. Staying at home.
Whatever. Notre Dame. Is your friend on the Notre Dame hockey team?
Air Force.
Oh, he's on the Air Force.
They're at Notre Dame.
Okay. Because I have a friend who's on the Notre Dame hockey team. His name is Bobby Nardella.
Oh.
Yeah. You probably never heard of him, but
go Air Force.
Plays for Notre Dame. Go Notre Dame. I love Notre Dame's sweaters.
Yeah, their suits. Their rink's cool too.
They have some nice sweaters. Mm-hmm. Everything about Notre Dame is cool, and you either love it or you hate it. This has been The Squeeze with Matthew Vasquez. Land the plane, guys. Land the plane. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for listening. This has been the last, we'll see, 2-hour squeeze. Thanks. I had such a trouble landing the plane.